In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to sample the data using random undersampling technique, random oversampling technique, or using SMODE. I'll be using the KNIME platform to demonstrate this particular methodology. First of all, I'm going to use this Excel reader node. This will help me to import the data in KNIME. Now I'm going to right click on it, configure, provide it the file which needs to be imported, and it lies in this particular folder, dataset char. Now here you need to make sure that all the variables are identified correctly by the software, and in this case I will be selecting only a few variables for demonstration purpose. You can select all the variables or only the relevant variables. Now this particular variable is the class. This particular variable represents the class, so it should be changed to string type. This is similar to what we do in jump. If it is kept as integer or number, then it will not be recognized as a class column, and therefore I'm going to change it to the string. Doesn't matter if the values are given as 0 or 1. So as you can see here, the snippet of the data somewhere here. Then I'm going to just click on OK, and it shows some warning. Okay, and sorry. Now I'm going to click on execute, and it shows green sign, which means that the node has been successfully executed. Again, you can right click on it and you can see the data which is imported. So I've imported only a subset of columns which appear to be here. Total number of rows are 6347. In order to perform the random undersampling, we have to use the node equal sampling, equal size sampling. So just write equal size sampling, drag and drop into this particular space, make a connection. Now this connection ensures that the data goes to this particular node. Again, right click to configure the node. Now here, make sure that the class column is selected. In our case, the class column is churn, and make sure you select use exact sampling. Click OK and click execute. If you see the output, downsampled output, you will see 646 rows are there from originals around 6,000 rows. And now we can write this data in an Excel file. For that, I'm going to use the node write Excel. Excel writer, not write Excel but Excel writer. Drag and drop here, make a connection that this input goes to this, output goes to this input. Click on configure. Here you provide the file name, let's say downsample, provide it the path, and click on save. Now click on OK. Just clicking OK will not save the file. It shows the yellow sign, which means that the node has been configured but you have not executed this. So right click and then execute. Once you do it, the file will be stored in the path that you specified. In order to do the oversampling of the minority class, we need to follow some different approach. Now first of all, I need to use this particular node, which is nominal value splitter, nominal value row filter, row splitter. Now what your nominal value row splitter will do, it will split the data based on the majority class and minority class. So I'm going to feed this data which I have imported in KNIME to this particular node, and then click on configure. Whatever the minority class is, you should include that class to on the right hand side here where it says top. So 1 is the minority class, so I've selected it and I'll put it here and click OK. So now if you will execute the node, and click on included and excluded these numbers, you will see that the data has been splitted. Okay, so this particular excluded node, it consists of all the data points which belong to class 0, and included one contains all the data points which belong to class 1. The minority class data will be stored in this top node here, and the majority class data will be stored in this bottom node here. So from configure we can see also that where the data will be stored. In the bottom the majority class, and in the top it is minority class. Now I want to sample the minority class because it's random, because this is the random oversampling technique. For that I'm going to use the Bootstrap sampling. Since I just want to sample the minority class, I'm going to feed this minority class which is stored in the top node to this Bootstrap sample. Now click on configure, and here you can specify the size. If you click on absolute sample size, how many rows you want to make. So let's say if I write 6024, that means I want to change the minority class number to 60024. Usually this number is equal to number of data points in the majority class. Then click on execute, and again here we have two nodes, top node and bottom node. So from if you right click and if you look at the bottom, it will tell you that what is in the top node and what is in the bottom node. So we want a Bootstrap sample, they are in the top node. As you can see, I specified 6024. Now I need to concatenate, because this particular node consists of only the oversampled minority class data points, and in this particular node at the bottom we have the majority class. So for that I'm going to use concatenate node here. Okay, I'm going to delete this link here because it is already created, but I'm going to, so I have imported the concatenate node, so I'm going to connect the Bootstrap sample which is in the top node, which is now the oversampled minority class, and from the bottom I'm going to make a connection to it to concatenate the already existing majority class. Then click on configure, make sure these options are selected, whatever is there by default, and click on execute. So this green icon, it indicates that the node has been successfully created. Now again you can import Excel writer node here, make the connection, click on configure, under browse provide the file name whatever you want to provide, let's say oversample, choose the path wherever you want to store the Excel file, and click on save, and then click on OK. Yellow sign means the node has been configured but not executed. Right click and click on execute. So this particular chunk will actually oversample your data, this particular chunk will undersample your minority class, this particular chunk will oversample the minority class. There is one more technique which is smooth, that also can be used, which is nothing but a combination of oversampling and undersampling. In this I'm going to import the node smooth, make a connection, and right click, click on configure. It asks what is the class column, so it is correctly identified that churn is the class column. Number of nearest neighbor, as discussed in the class, we go by the thumb rule 5. So basically it is going to synthetically create a data point by randomly selecting a data point and find out what are the 5 nearest neighbor. Now among these nearest neighbor, it will select the nearest one, or sometimes what software do, they select randomly any of the data point or any of these nearest neighbor and interpolate the value with the considered data point. Now here choose this option, oversample minority class. So in this way all classes occur equally often. As you can see the pop-up which it shows. That means equal number of instances of the minority class will be created synthetically, which will equal to the majority class. So click OK. Yellow sign means, yellow light means that the node has been configured but not executed, and if you right click on it and click on execute, you can see the oversampled data. So now this consists of 6024 original minority class majority class data, and the 323 rows which were minority class rows have been oversampled to 6024. So total there are 12,048 data points. Here also I can use the Excel writer node, drag and drop and make a connection. Click on configure, and the same deal, you write the name of the file, choose the folder where you want to store, and click on save and click OK. But it shows yellow sign, that means it has been configured but not executed, and right click and it will be now executed. So this is how we balance the data using 3 different techniques in KNIME, and this balanced data then can be used to make any type of model, whether it is neural network, whether it is logistic regression, or whether it is random forest.